Say goodbye to cute, funny, and absolutely gorgeous Disney characters you know and love. Get ready, because some of these characters will give you serious nightmares. You'll never be able to look at Snow White the same way again. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to The Things to never miss another Disney video again. Give this video a thumbs up, because today we're checking out 10 Disney characters reimagined as monsters. Princess Jasmine. Let's start with the princess who's so gorgeous, she had an influence on the early sketches of the main male character of the movie. They thought Aladdin's original look was far too scruffy for such a beautiful princess. Well, if Jasmine's real looks were anything like the illustration we're about to show you, we're pretty sure the whole movie would have a very different setting. You can thank the DeviantArt user, Zombie Roses, for this awesome illustration. Princess Jasmine is now a zombie. We told you this script would give you nightmares. We can imagine the plot to Aladdin would have to change a whole lot if the characters became actual zombies. Let's not forget that Jasmine isn't even the main character in the story, and yet she still managed to steal the spotlight. We bet that with this zombie look, Jasmine might as well become the main focus of Aladdin's story. From what it looks like, the zombie Jasmine seems to only have one arm, and she's sporting a bit of a different look from the original Princess Jasmine. Did you know that in the Arabian Nights, which is the original story of Aladdin, Princess Jasmine is actually named Badroulbadour? That name seems to be quite fitting for this zombie-looking Princess Jasmine. Princess Tiana. The next design was created by the very talented Slovakian painter, who goes by the name of Gabi. She's quite known for creating stunning zombie paintings, and she did a really good job with one of our favorite Disney princesses. Princess Tiana knows that working hard can make her dreams come true. She doesn't let things stand in her way, and she's incredibly bold and wise. Tiana is a perfect example of a progressive Disney princess. In fact, she doesn't even become a princess until the end of the movie, and we have yet to see how her story would unfold now that she has her princess status. But what we can show you is what Princess Tiana would look like as a monster. Yes, one of the most underrated Disney princesses is now zombified. Mind you, you might want to close your eyes because this one is just downright scary. Check out that piece of frog leg in her mouth. We all know how dedicated and hardworking Tiana is when it comes to her dreams. With that in mind, it makes us think she could still portray her story, even if she'd be zombified. We just feel bad for that poor frog. Do you think this was her prince, or just a random animal? Chicken Little. Now here's a character we haven't talked much about on this channel. Do you remember Chicken Little? The teeny tiny chicken was convinced the sky was falling, and everyone thought he was just crying wolf, even though he was right. It's hard to imagine his goofy character could resemble anything other than a chicken, but the team behind Freaking News reimagined him into a very impressive-looking monster. We love the dark cloak he's wearing, and he looks like he wants to get revenge on anyone who laughed at him before. Did you know that Chicken Little was the second fully computer-generated movie, and the first movie using Disney's digital 3D animation tools? Apart from the film called Dinosaur, all previous Disney movies had been drawn by hand. The movie was Disney's chance to show what the company can do using animation, and they certainly did their job. After Chicken Little, only The Princess and the Frog and Winnie the Pooh still followed the old hand-drawn tradition. We can't imagine the skill that's needed to hand-draw this version of Chicken Little and turn it into a Disney movie, but we're very interested in how it would all turn out. A zombie version of Chicken Little sounds like a good idea. Belle. Let's go back to the world of Disney princesses, because we found one French princess who is rocking the monster look, and we wanted to show you what she looks like. The world of illustration really has no limits. Even though Belle is too sweet, too kind, and way too compassionate to look like a monster, this picture did the monster Belle justice. This design belongs to the Slovakian illustrator called Gabi, who also painted the amazing Princess Tiana we showed you earlier. Well, the zombie version of Belle looks like it's been through some hard times. She looks like she needs a few good hours of sleep to cover those red eyes. Can you imagine this version of Belle walking down the streets of her village and singing bonjour to everyone? Do you think anyone would even answer her back? Speaking of monsters in Beauty and the Beast, did you know that the Beast is made of 7 different animals? They include a lion, a buffalo, a gorilla, a human, a wild boar, a bear, and a wolf. And yet, those combinations will never look as scary as the monster version of Belle. Can you imagine this Belle ever pairing up with the Beast? Now get ready, because the next illustration might just ruin your childhood opinions of the beloved Lilo and Stitch. Stitch. Lilo and Stitch was one of the first Disney movies to feature realistic body types on their main female characters. Lilo was shown as a very real character, who's sometimes a brat, but she also struggles with fitting in. Stitch was also an extraordinary character. While other Disney princesses and other other female characters tend to have a cute and funny sidekick, Stitch had to be taught how to be good and kind. The movie teaches us about the importance of family love and bond. After all, Ohana means family, and family means that nobody gets left behind or forgotten. But would that quote still apply if Stitch's looks would drastically change? This fantastic design belongs to an incredible artist, Alberto Montoya, who managed to zombify quite a few of your favorite Disney characters. Stitch looks like he's been through some serious hardships. What do you think? Is this what Stitch would look like if he'd never been taught the importance of kindness? Did you notice that when Stitch got adopted and Nani was handed the adoption papers, the text was an acknowledgement of the hard work the Lilo and Stitch team put in to make this movie? It seems like the creative team behind the movie worked hard to create this Disney classic, Mickey Mouse. You know we can't talk about Disney characters without mentioning the one and only Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse's first appearance was in Steamboat Willie in 1928, which makes him pretty old. This mouse character is one of the most recognizable faces in the world. Did you know that he even beats Santa Claus? Everyone knows Mickey Mouse, but would people still know him if he transformed into a monster? This design belongs to a DeviantArt user called Rye Spirit, who did a fantastic job with making Mickey just a bit crazier than usual. With his big eyes, sharp teeth, long tongue, and a stance that's up to no good, this version of Mickey takes the friendly mouse character to the next level. Did you know that Mickey Mouse's story starts with a rabbit called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who was sold to Universal and became popular? Long story short, it turned out that Universal retained all rights to the Oswald character, and Walt Disney was back to square one. This inspired him to create a brand new character he called Mickey Mouse, and the rest is history. Well, we're quite glad that his original Mickey Mouse didn't look anything like a zombie. His looks are so iconic that many Disney fans love to play the Hidden Mickey game, where they try to find the Mickey Mouse shape in other Disney movies. Our next character is part of the world that's full of Mickey Mouse Easter eggs. Ariel. Well, it looks like Ariel no longer wishes she could be part of this world after all. The 16-year-old princess is known for her stubbornness and not taking no for an answer. Her personality makes her instantly lovable, although her free spirit does bring quite a lot of anxiety out of her friends, Flounder and Sebastian. Her original looks were based on the one and only Alyssa Milano, who jokes that she does have red hair and wears a clamshell bra at home. Who do you think this zombie Ariel was inspired by? The stunning illustration belongs to a DeviantArt user, Nicola Chan, and it shows an entirely different side to the Little Mermaid we know and love. She looks like she's been eaten by something that was also able to completely remove her eyes, and it's not a beautiful sight. We told you that the Little Mermaid has quite a few of Mickey Mouse sightings in the movie, and we weren't lying. You can spot Mickey, as well as Goofy and Donald Duck at the beginning of the film, as well as in a few hand-drawn bubbles. Do you think Disney would ever create the Little Mermaid remake with zombie characters? If that ever happens, it's safe to say that this will no longer be a movie suitable for children. Popeye. He's strong to the finish because he eats his spinach. He's Popeye the Sailor Man. We haven't discussed Popeye much on this channel, but the super strong, spinach-loving Sailor Man deserves a mention. Popeye dates back to 1919, and the character was inspired by a real person named Frank Rocky Fiegel, whose habits are quite similar to the cartoon version of Popeye. Did you know that for about a decade since the launch of the cartoon, there has been a 33% increase in children eating spinach? Now that's an impressive accomplishment. Popeye's looks aren't necessarily appealing, but they do portray a typical sailor man. But this artist, who goes by the name of Andre de Freitas, turned Popeye into a pretty convincing zombie. It looks like eating spinach doesn't really help with your immune system when you forget to brush your teeth. The image does bring a new story for Popeye, and we'd love to see the pipe-smoking character in a terrifying cartoon. We bet the percentage of children who eat spinach would drop if Popeye looked like a zombie. Did you know Popeye has his own theme park in Malta, where the famous actor Robin Williams filmed the live-action film adaptation of the popular cartoon? The theme park is still active and open for business. And we know one Disney princess who probably loves theme parks. Rapunzel. The 18-year-old happy-go-lucky Disney princess is one of our favorites. She's brave, sometimes naive, and she goes after what her heart wants. Her sweet, charming looks only add to her cheerful character. But can you imagine what Rapunzel would look like if she became a monster? This illustration belongs to a DeviantArt user called Clock Tower Man, who did an amazing version of bringing out the not-so-gorgeous side of this Disney princess. This Rapunzel looks like she's had enough of her adoptive mother's behavior, And we'll ignore the fact that she's holding just a part of her animal sidekick, Pascal. We can't even imagine what she did to her significant other, who charmed us with his smoldering looks and his dry sense of humor. The illustrator did an amazing job in bringing out a completely different side to our favorite Disney princess. Did you know that Rapunzel's hair is 70 feet long, and it holds around 100,000 strands? Speaking of Tangled, a fan theory states that Mother Gothel could play another Disney character in a movie that was released in 1937, 73 years before Tangled's debut. Can you guess which movie we're talking about? It involves apples and 7 tiny humans with names that reflect their personalities. Snow White. And last but not least, it's the Disney princess that started off the whole Disney mania. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs was first released in 1937, and the iconic classic set a standard for all future Disney movies. Snow White is one of the youngest Disney princesses. At just 14 years old, she's showing incredible kindness and compassion toward everyone, including animals. And it's why we love her. But would her kind character change if she looked like this? Deviant art artist Sumena reimagined Snow White as a monster, and this picture is terrifying. We do want to highlight how amazing it is to see Snow White in a completely different light. It's hilarious that the zombie version of Snow White still looks kind of cute with the bow in her hair and her face shape. The original story of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs is a bit more gruesome than you think. It turns out that the queen asked a hunter to bring back Snow White's lungs and liver, which means this version of the Disney princess might make a bit more sense. However, we do still prefer the Snow White with a unique voice and her 7 extraordinary pals that are there to back her up. Looking for more videos like this one? Don't forget to check out 20 cartoon characters reimagined in 3D. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and